fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Beast Weaponizer 2-pack of Predacon, Scorponok, and Sandspear from the Transformers Rise of the Beast Buzzworthy Bumblebee line from Hasbro. So really it's a Rise of the Beast toy, they just decided to make it a Target exclusive, and Target puts everything under the Buzzworthy Bumblebee banner for all their exclusives. You can see that it's part of the Beast Alliance play pattern up here in the upper right. But yeah, basically, it's just a Rise of the Beast toy. So we have the open style of packaging here. We have Scorponok and Sandspear. That is a scorpion holding a scorpion. Can't really get much more meta than that. We have a nice picture of Optimus here on the side. It says Beast Weaponizer 2-pack. Over here, we have some nice artwork of Scorponok. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be the same Scorponok from the first Bay movie. I don't really know how they could hint at that in this movie, but I guess if you want it to be, you can pretend that it is. Over here on the back, we have some nice product shots of Scorponok in both the robot mode and the scorpion mode. And then you have Sandspear here. Kind of looks like the tail just flips around and becomes a bladed weapon of some kind. So, should be pretty cool. I'm excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead, get them out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here they are out of the packaging. We'll take a look at Sandspear first, just because there's not a lot to him. But he does have some nice paint applications here on the face. Some silver paint and some orange eyes. Some more silver paint here on the abdomen. He's got these claws molded in a gray piece of plastic. And there are two ball joints for these, so you can kind of move these around decently on those ball joints. Not a ton of motion, but you can kind of go down like that. A little bit up and down. Unfortunately, the pincer claws do not open and close at all. The legs don't move. They are one static piece. You can see very hollow abdomen here. And then you have a joint here for the tail, which is mostly for the transformation, but you can utilize that in Scorpion mode if you like. And then he's got kind of a little stinger here. Unfortunately, it can't bend forward. It can only bend backwards, so you can't really strike with the tail. But transformation for him is very simple. You're just going to rotate the pincer claws up like this. You can see that there's a little spot here, a little peg that flips around, and then this is going to go about this far, and then this blade is going to flip out of the tail, and it kind of just makes a sword. I know he's called Sandspear, but it doesn't really look like a spear to me. It's just kind of a sword, but I still think it's cool. A fun bladed weapon, and we'll just put this off to the side for the moment so we can take a look at Scorponok. I think he looks pretty good, honestly. I think he's got a lot of nice paint applications. The green really goes well with the kind of brownish gray other colors they have going on here. And I really like the head sculpt. It looks like someone took a chunk out of his eye. He's definitely seen some battle damage. And it's just a head sculpt you wouldn't necessarily think of Scorponok. So I kind of just like it. It's kind of fun. Really nice Predacon symbol painted there on the chest. Again, you have some nice green here on the shoulder pads. He's got these claws here on the outer part of the hands, which I think looks really good. Have a connector port here on the side of the forearms. I think that's just kind of like a stand peg. I don't think you can peg anything into that. I was kind of hoping he would have something here on the back so you could hook the sword onto the back, and you almost kind of can. Like, it doesn't hook in any specific way, but it almost kind of sits here just because of the legs, but it doesn't really want to stay. But it would have been neat to have some kind of sword storage there on his back, but unfortunately not so much. I really like the green paint here down on the legs. Now, the one thing is the giant scorpion legs. These are huge. They're in the way of everything. If you want to keep them all the way out, you can, but then I feel like the hand loses some movement because it kind of hits into that. But you can't really push them all the way in either because they go way too far and they'll start, hitting into each other. I kind of like to just put them at like a 45-degree angle. That way they're a little bit out of the way of the hands, and the legs have a little bit of definition, but they're not really hitting into each other. So just kind of like a little compromise there. But overall, I think he looks pretty cool. Articulation-wise, pretty basic. The head can swivel from side to side. You have a hinge here. It's kind of a ball joint, as you can see here in the shoulder, but you can only extend out. Well, actually, I guess you can go farther. The shoulder pads stop there, but the arms kind of pop out to the side. And then, of course, you get a full rotation there as well. You have a ball joint here for the forearm, so a decent amount of rotation there. He is a little hollow. As you can see, the back is pretty hollow. The forearms are pretty hollow. Even the legs are decently hollow where the hinge isn't there for the scorpion legs. So he does have that going on, but he still feels pretty solid. Honestly, I don't find any problems with the plastic quality or anything like that. So you have that ball joint in the shoulder. You have the ball joint here in the elbow. Nothing in the waist. I was kind of hoping there'd be a waist swivel, but not so much. Ball joint here in the hip can kick pretty far forward. Can also kick pretty far back as long as you can make sure those scorpion legs don't get in the way. And you can kick decently out to the side. Unfortunately, it will kind of hit into the top part of the waist, but still pretty far. And then you have a ball joint here in the knee. Now you also have an extra hinge. As you can see, the ball joint's on a hinge right here. Now that's going to be for transformation, but if you want to utilize that to kind of, kick himself in the back, you absolutely could. So I wanted to point out that he does have that hinge, but mostly for the knee, you're going to utilize this ball joint here. But it works. It's a little bit simplistic toy, but I feel that, the Beast Alliance is a little bit more simplistic, but it's fun to be able to change them back and forth really quickly. I mean, you have your Studio Series and your main line if you want a more complicated transformation, and I think the Beast Alliance is here just to have fun, because you have all these crazy weapons. I mean, we can go ahead and plug Sandspear here. So he's got this crazy bladed weapon, but he also comes with another accessory. He's got his own tail, and you can kind of straighten this around to make another bladed weapon, which we can put in his other hand. So he's got some accessories. He's ready to fight. He's got 2 bladed weapons here, which I think is really cool. Again, I wish there was a way to store one of them on the back or something like that, but unfortunately can't really do that. Now, technically you could take Sandspear and just rotate this peg down 90 degrees if you wanted to peg it here onto the side of his forearm, which is apparently a little easier said than done, but I promise it works. There we go. And then you could just have kind of like a giant gauntlet bladed weapon if you wanted to do something like that. So you have a couple options, which I think is pretty cool. And he even has these connectors here on the side of the legs as well. So that gives you some more options. So you could really deck this guy out with a bunch of these weaponizers, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm going to put these off to the side and just do a little quick comparison here. Here is the Weaponizer Optimus Primal, so you can see that they are about the same size. All these figures are about the same size in the Beast Alliance. But they look good together. I like it. I think this definitely seems like a pairing that would square off. I think it looks pretty cool. I like that they're about the same size. So I think that totally works. And then just to illustrate that, of course, he can use any of the other weaponizers. They're all the same 5mm peg. So, very cool. A very nice addition to the line. I'm definitely ready to get some more villains in this line, because we don't have a ton, whether they're Terracons or Predacons or Decepticons or whatever. I don't think there are any Decepticons in this one, actually, now that I think about it. They're all either Terracons or Predacons. In any case, we need more villains in this line, so I'm very excited to add this guy to the collection. I think he's a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and check out his transformation. So for better or worse, the transformation is super simplistic. You're going to start by just pushing down the shoulder pads and just kind of leaving them there like that. We're going to take the head and rotate it around 180 degrees, although honestly you don't really have to, but you can go ahead and flip the scorpion head around, and that's why I say, I mean, it's nice because that way it hides the face, but you don't have to. Then we're going to just bring the arms up like this, and we're pretty much done. We're going to just take the scorpion legs, push them out to the side. We are going to connect them here on these little spots right here, like so. And then we are going to bend at that extra hinge, like this. And actually, it's probably easier to bend them on the hinge before you connect them together. So then we're going to actually just take these little spots right here and peg them in down there. So use the ball joint to bring this down. And that's just going to peg on like that. And then we're going to bring that sword back in. And it doesn't really matter which way you orient it, but I find putting the larger part of the hilt toward the back. And that's just going to peg into this spot right here, like so. And then you can kind of angle this around with the ball joints to make the tail kind of curve forward. And there you go. There is the Scorpion mode. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, it's definitely a basic transformation. I'm going to lift the arms up here a little bit so you can have the scorpion legs actually touch the ground. But yeah, it's a basic transformation, but I like it. I like the scorpion head. I think that works. I like the pop of green on there. I love the orange eyes. I think that really works. It's kind of a bummer that I kind of wish I could... I mean, I guess technically I can angle the arms like this if I want to, but then you lose, you know, some of the mobility there. But, you know, if you want to kind of focus more on the claws, you absolutely can. The directions just kind of have the arms out like this, which you can do, and then you can have that ball joint. If you kind of turn them to the side, then you obviously can only bend this way. But it works either way, whichever way you prefer. I think it looks pretty cool. I kind of like to put the claws a little bit more forward, just so that way he's kind of stabbing with them like that. But then you have a little bit of movement here with the tail, as well as this ball joint here. And then really it's just the arm articulation, because the legs are obviously all in place back here. But it's fine. It's a little simplistic, but I think it gets the job done. I think it looks good. We can bring Primal back in gorilla mode. Again, these two ready to square off like we saw in the trailer. You know, he's grabbing these Scorponoks and smashing them. And I think that's pretty good. I think the size ratio works. I think that's pretty cool. If you wanted to still utilize Sandspear, you could once again peg this into the side of the arm, which again is easier said than done, but you could still utilize it in this mode. It's a little goofy, but it can still be done. Just like Primal could do the same. We pop this into his hand. There we go. So I think that's fun. I just like the whole Weaponizer gimmick. Battlemaster, Weaponizer, whatever you want to call them. The packaging can't even really seem to decide. I just think it's fun. I think these are so fun and goofy. It just kind of takes me back to the days of Target Masters and things like that. And having them be animals, I think, is super fun. So I like these a lot. I think it's a really fun play pattern. And, you know, it's a simple transformation. But like I said, I think it gets the job done. I think, you know, you have two pretty cool little scorpion modes here. I think this guy's a lot of fun. I think he looks good in both modes. Yes, the transformation's a little simple, but it gets the job done. I think the Scorpion mode is pretty convincing. I love the robot mode. That head sculpt is just a lot of fun. It definitely doesn't scream Scorponok to me. If anything, it kind of reminds me of like a Junkion head sculpt or something like that. But I like it here. It's something different. It's something fun, not necessarily bug-like. But I also kind of like the detail that it looks like somebody kind of like took a chunk out of his eye. I think that's kind of fun, that's like battle damage. Just everything about it. He's very fun. You know, he's very basic, not a ton of articulation. Transformation's very straightforward, but I still think it's a ton of fun. I love that he's got two melee weapons here. He's ready to throw down. You know, you do have the giant scorpion legs kind of in the way, but if you put them at like a 45-degree angle, they're really not too bad. They don't really get in the way too much. I just think he's a lot of fun. I found him at Target today. I think he was $15.99, which is kind of in keeping with the normal price of the Weaponizer 2-packs. So I definitely recommend picking him up if you've been collecting the Beast Alliance stuff so far. I think he's a very welcome addition because honestly, with the exception of like the Skull Cruncher armor, we haven't really seen a ton of villains in this line. So it's definitely fun to round it out. I think there's definitely a Scourge coming. You know, it doesn't look the most amazing, but I think there is going to be a Scourge, I believe, in both the armor packs and the Weaponizer 2-packs, I think. So we should be getting at least Scourge as well. But yeah, I think this subline is a lot of fun, and I've been having a lot of fun with all the different animals turning into various weapons, and this guy is just a really fun addition. So definitely recommend checking him out. Like I said, here in the US, he is exclusive to Target. I don't know about outside of the US, but I believe he will be available. I think in some parts of the world where they still have Toys R Us, he might be a Toys R Us exclusive. I think I saw that overseas, a picture somewhere along the line. But here in the US, definitely a Target exclusive. So check your local Targets. I've been seeing a lot of people finding him recently, so he should be out and about. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.